Good morning from Orange County. I wanted to come and make this video because I had a dream about it. So I woke up and decided to do it. But yeah, basically, this is just a fucking wake and bake episode. And I also just wanted to talk a little bit about, some stuff going on in the world right now. Because there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world, This is a high frequency time of our lives. And there's a lot of things going on. So I thought, why don't we light up a bowl and, so get your motherfucking gas. Pack that bong. It's a wake and bake time. It's time to dissect America and figure out what's wrong with it. I'll clear this whole bowl. Om Namah Shiva. Cheers. First bowl in the morning. P.S. Go check out my new song, Never Change. So yeah, I wanted to talk about media and idols. That's the first thing that came to me. And this generation is filled with it. Idols are like the heads of American culture, I guess. And I just want to talk about how much of the the way of controlling the masses idols are, especially now. Yeah, so, just to start off, the idol itself, and what that position holds, it's basically, subconsciously telling you that if you go through all this work, and grind out with the record label or something, and sign your soul away, essentially. Or, any of these other things that an idol can be, it's essentially telling you subconsciously that is something you should be doing with your life. Because that's, kind of what it implies. They show, a pop star all happy or something, and then they overdose, you know what I mean? And it's just like, there's no difference between you and that artist that you've been listening to for the past 2 weeks. That's all I'm saying. It's just like, it's a really good way of controlling people and keeping them in a almost ant-like mind system, because it's an incentive, you see these people that were happy or supposedly happy in their seats where they sign their souls away. Not like literally, like, you can't sign your soul away, it's not possible, but signing to a record label and putting out music that isn't theirs technically. I just that kind of stuff where a record label pays you to put out music that they want. What? That's not, that's just another way of living somebody else's life and working for somebody else. But yeah, idols are not good because it's also like a god in a way, And a lot of these people at the very top, especially in Hollywood, these are some really, I don't want to say evil, but there's some really weird people up there, and it's a really weird thing. Hollywood is very, it's filled with so much pedophilia, so much just abuse. It's not good. It's just fucked up, It's a very fucked up thing that's going on. It has been for so very long. And it doesn't help now that everybody has social media and computers and TikTok and all these things. It basically has just expanded the space for idols times a billion. You can sit in a room and watch somebody else's life as you sit there all day. You know what I mean? That's weird. Or you can sit in your bed as you watch somebody else play video games. You know what I mean? Like, that's weird. And as I've gotten older, I've just kind of like woken up to all this shit. It's just like, whoa, you know? And I don't know how anybody, well, I think everybody kind of like right now is waking up to these things collectively, but it's just like for a while now, people have been asleep because it's so immersive, you know? These kinds of things are so immersive, the internet and, you know, all these kinds of things. We build technology to make it more immersive. That's what we've been doing for long. And that's not going to end. It's just going to keep growing exponentially on either sides. And you may kind of see a split in, you know, people between the 3D and the 5D. And it's very real, you know. When, first of all, technology is not the problem. It's the way we use it. That was Bob Marley. And, yeah, I mean, it's certainly true. I mean, right now I'm recording this podcast on my phone, you know, as you could be doing. And when we use these basically, like, these crazy super technologies, I mean, think about what a phone is. Like, we're living in the future. Like, you can do anything from your phone. You can basically create a living from your phone. And yeah, dude, it's like, when we use these things correctly, they can actually be a portal for expansion in our lives, not the other way around, you know, a portal for restraint, or chains for restraint, I guess. Because when we spend like 8 hours a day on TikTok, which, by the way, it's actually very sad to think about how many people are spending 8 hours a day on TikTok, or more than that. That's half of your waking life. It adds up. And that's what people don't realize, is that they've been doing this for years. And they're still doing it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just the other day, I had a friend who I was curious, because he was on his phone, right? And it's like the split I was kind of talking about the other day. I was talking to one of my friends who, you know, is pretty down to earth and like aware of all these things, and we were just chilling. And then I was with a group, and then there was also another friend I had that was just on their phone scrolling through TikTok. And so I was like, yo, go to your screen time real quick. I want to see how many hours you spent on there. And then it was 8 hours. 8 hours. Like, that's fucking, it's insane. You can, but you should not spend 8 hours on your phone. Period. Yeah, even when we're using these types of things for creativity, like, you still take breaks. You know, you can't just be living in a simulated reality. Like, and that's what I think a lot of people are doing. I know a lot of people are doing right now. I mean, think about fucking virtual reality headsets. That's a real thing that exists in this dimension that we have right here. So it's like, these things exist. And what they're going to do is they're just basically going to build another Matrix. You know? And, I mean, you can already see this happening in a way. It's just kind of like the two worlds are merged, you know? And there's going to be some people who completely disconnect as much as they can, at least, from this 5-dimensional, you know, existence. Or at least become less aware of it as they fall into these matrices of the metaverse, or, you know, I don't know, like VR chat or something. Like, all those things are metaverses. VR chat is a metaverse. That's weird. I just kind of like realized that. And I've played these games, you know what I mean? Like, I've played the fucking, I don't know what it's called. Like, there's just like, when I was younger, one of my homies had a fucking VR headset, and he used to be playing on that shit all the time, bro. Like, I remember, like, that's completely, like, if I had a VR headset, I would be on that. When I was a little kid, I would be on that all the time. You know what I mean? If I could. Because that's a fucking VR headset. What are you talking about, bro? And that's just kind of the mentality that people have. But when you really look at it, it's actually super bad for humanity. I mean, it's also okay when we use it in the right hands and not for just consumption and pleasure. Yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of weird things on the internet, dude. And kids having, like, unrestricted internet access is not great. Just starting with that. You know what I mean? Like, fuck all the virtual reality. Kids having internet access has completely fucked them up, too. So now we have this whole other world that parents are getting their kids for Christmas. It's like, it's weird, man. It's a dystopia, and people don't realize it. But yeah, I mean, thinking about TikTok, for example, that one's really bad because it basically changes how your mind works. It basically takes your power away and turns you into a anxious zombie. I think all these apps they're basically drugs, man, on the nervous system. That's the best way I can describe it. TikTok, and because I mean, all these things everything is neurochemistry, right? So all of these things are drugs, sex, drugs, virtual reality. All these things are drugs, because they're releasing chemicals in the brain. That doesn't mean anything bad. There's plenty of drugs that I love to do, but it's just that we have to be aware of these things, because if we're not, then we're being enslaved by them. And I think a lot of people are, it's not like you have to, but a lot of people are unknowingly running from themselves. It's like, why are you scrolling for 8 hours a day, dude? Like, that's too much. It's like, what are you looking for in all those videos? You're looking for yourself, but you're never going to find it scrolling through those videos. It's almost like it just makes me feel really weird because it just gives me this feeling of like dystopia, man, and a whole generation lost to time in a way, and lost to ads and media. It's really weird. It's like, and another thing too is all these new mental health things. Mental health issues are not new at all, but I mean, all these things that have popped up a lot more in the younger generations recently, such as dissociation and derealization. I mean, think about what all these things are. That is totally a symptom of being on your phone for 8 hours a day. I mean, think about dissociation, derealization. No shit. If you spend half of your day in a different reality, it's gonna feel fucking weird. You know what I mean? And it's a weird thing too. Like, it has our minds, or a lot of people's minds, in a way that's operating differently. It's like, well, if I'm not gonna be on my phone, what am I gonna do? And it's like, the problem with that is when you're always consuming things, your brain has no time to build its own pattern of thoughts. So essentially, you're being programmed. You're being programmed by TikTok and all these apps. Another thing too that's interesting to think about is TikTok, you're not choosing the videos that they're showing you at all. Something like YouTube or I don't know, fucking just like a video database, like a video library. You can choose what you watch, but TikTok isn't like this. Same with Instagram. I mean, Instagram, to a point, it's kind of who you follow, but TikTok's For You page isn't. And this is kind of a concern because it's like you never know what you're consuming. Like, it's like a gamble every single time about what they're going to program you with next. And it's completely under their control, you know. It's AI, but they also have control over that whole thing, you know. It's money. That whole thing is operating off of money. So they're programming you with things that are not for your highest interest through those apps continuously for 8 hours a day. And each time you scroll, you know, you may think that you have some sense of what you're watching or a choice in it, but you actually don't. And they just show you whatever the fuck they want you to. Another thing too is I hear my sister watching TikTok like all the time, right? And I keep telling her, like, you gotta stop watching TikTok. And I remember, because I have a really, like, specific memory, like, hearing the same TikTok. You hear that, Crow? Hearing the same TikTok, like, 3 days in a row at, like, similar times. So what this leads me to believe is that they are showing you guys the same videos on repeat. There he is again. On repeat. And this is so, just to think about, it's like watching the same video over and over again. Or the same song over and over again. And another thing too, these videos are 6 seconds long. That's so bad for your brain. It's like a drug. It's your 6-second hit every time. And it's such a wide, it's like it's like gambling basically. It's like TikTok was basically curated to keep you on the app forever. TikTok. You get it? TikTok. Time is ticking away. 8 hours, dude. That's too long. And all I'm saying is these technologies that we have been blessed with are a blessing. So don't mistake that. But there's always going to be nefarious forces that want to make money off you or take your time is really the main one, because they will do anything they can do to stunt your individual growth as a person. And that's what these apps do. When you're scrolling, it's like when kids in this generation are bored, they go on TikTok. And what that does is that basically gets rid of a whole generation, or a lot of them, of artists, musicians, you know, just geniuses that couldn't get to their full capacity because their brains couldn't think of the idea or couldn't cultivate the idea because they were always consuming TikTok. They were always consuming videos. So it's like it's like you're constantly filling your mind with artificial thoughts is what it is. Yeah. And it's turning into a cyborg. And it doesn't even need to be a part of you to be a part of you. It's kind of the thing I realized, like, when we're using these things throughout the day, they change the way our brain operates to in a framework of that, you know, matrix, because the human brain is so very good at immersing itself in worlds and creating worlds too. I mean, think about this. I'm creating this immersive podcast for you right now, you know, with the Wake and Bake podcast. Here we go. But, like, seriously, like, these technologies can be used for so many good things. Like, this global wake up we've kind of had. I think a lot of that has been contributed to technology, which is, it's kind of paradoxical in a way. But it's because technology isn't the problem. It's the way we use it. So all I'm saying is delete TikTok. I still have a phone. You know, I still have a laptop. Just delete TikTok, delete Instagram, delete all of these social medias. If the app hasn't really created anything, then it's not worth your time. Simple as that. If you're not creating something with your time, you're gonna get, like, drained by something else. It's like if you're not creating your own storyline, you're gonna be a character in somebody else's. it's kind of how these things go, because there's always forces out there that want to take your brain, but control it, basically, you know? And a lot of these forces are other humans that really just want control over the masses. It's like a one world government, these phones are. They can they can they can program you into any world they want, you know? They can make you think the world is some way through the news when it's completely not. Fear is controlling the West. And these are very good methods that they have put in every person's home. It's like Big Brother. But instead of Big Brother watching us, we're watching Big Brother. So you have the power, and that's the thing that we have to realize as all of us wake up. You know, we are the ones creating this. It's not some other entity. We are the ones creating this world. So it's you who has to take that first step. Be the change you want to see in the world. Delete TikTok. Delete YouTube unless you're making videos, right? And the thing with TikTok too is most of those videos aren't helping anyone. Think about how many videos that you've seen on TikTok that you don't remember. Like, you don't remember any of those things. Maybe some of them occasionally, but they're 6 seconds, man. How could you even remember them, even if you wanted to? You know what I mean? Like, that's not how the brain works. It creates goldfishes, bro. Think about how much gray matter is in your brain from staring at that TikTok for 8 hours a day. It's basically just useless clutter that you have put into your brain that you didn't choose. It's like somebody else putting a bunch of used clutter into your brain, like programming it into you, and you don't have any choice in it unless you delete it. Like, there's no point to a lot of these apps. I've always kind of liked YouTube. You know, I don't like Google. Definitely not. But YouTube as a platform, I've always kind of admired. It's had its problems, you know, and I don't think kids should be on the app. Certainly not. But as a video library platform, it's pretty good. I think I should honestly create another video platform. Like, that'd be pretty cool to create, like, a better video platform that isn't shitty YouTube, that's just monetary. Because YouTube now is shadow banning creators, and it's pushing us. It's kind of like TikTok now. It's pushing a certain. Because YouTube has always been kind of like, you know. But, like, now it's pushing a certain message and also showing us the same videos. Like, I noticed that. It's like TikTok. They just keep showing you the same watched videos, so you turn into a zombie. So, yeah, just stay off all these apps, you know. And I think, honestly, audio content is way better. Like, I don't really have a problem with listening to music and all that kind of stuff because you're not staring at it. I think it's the staring that drains your energy a lot at the screen, at these artificial lights. I don't know if the listening is draining your energy. I think at times listening to music can actually boost your energy. You know what I mean? So I think it's the staring at screens that is the problem. And TikTok and all these news and media websites, they make it really easy to do that for a really long time. But yeah, so full circle, idols are really easy to, you know, show on screen. They basically create a little, you know, portals to these idols. And they send you messages about what you should do and what you spend your money on and where you should go and, you know, all these, like, what you should spend your time on and what you should listen to, just what you should be, because they want you to be like every other person. They don't want you to be unique. I mean, that's certainly that's like the last thing they want, because when that happens and when a whole generation of people is like that, you can't control them. So if we all just stop participating in these systems, they won't exist anymore because they were never real in the first place. Yeah. And idols are just like, they're just people who did the work. I mean, a lot of these idols too are really shitty people. Like, you meet them and they're not actually like what they portray themselves to be. It's all a facade. And that's not really any fault to them. You know, a lot of them, it's not any fault to them. A lot of them, sure, they might be pushing a certain facade, but you can kind of tell when they are. But a lot of these artists, I mean, it's just the nature of this form of connection. It creates this us and them aspect, which is, as people know, which is a very good way to keep people butting heads, you know? All these artificial problems that are really just problems of the media. And a lot of problems that are real problems that aren't being shown on the media. But yeah, I mean, like, there's no difference between you and, I don't know, Damo Genesis. He just did the work. Or you and The Garden, Fletcher Shears and Wyatt Shears. Like, there's no difference between you and them. It's the same person. It just comes across different. And idols don't help humans with their expansion at all. It just keeps them in that same, you know, God is external mindset, which, as a lot of us know, is not true. You create your own reality, as I'm doing right here. You know, I made this podcast. But yeah, man. So that was this wake and bake. I just wanted to talk a little bit about idols and the state of media right now and how it's really not good for us as a species. So yeah, adios.